some nasty goop. Got some dirty fluid. Okay, so this has got to go down, and that exposes this guy. So you got to fit somewhere on it. We got the old one out. This is it. Now this is the difficulty on these C600s. This is the master cylinder for the clutch. And the boot goes around here, which it was on. And inside, if you can see, is a hole which fills this area. This is the reservoir, and there's no fill spot. So all I can find online is people saying you got to get a syringe and you got to stick it through the boot and you got to syringe in fluid because there's no fill spot, which I think is really dumb. But anyway, it's still leaking. It's got a bunch of garbage. We're going to do the slave cylinder as well, and we're going to try and get this sucker, a new one, back in that we got from Napa. Bleeding this sucker, we'll do that at the slave cylinder, but you got to keep adding more fluid. So I guess I got to go be a medical doctor and go buy a syringe. This is the fluid that came out, which is pretty black. This is the newer one. It doesn't have a pull tab. This seems pretty seated on there, and hence there is a little hole up top, which maybe we use for the syringe. But if we use that hole, maybe the syringe, you know, we could bend it down or something like that, but instead of creating a brand new hole. So this sits right here, and we have a plate over here for a bolt there and a bolt up here, and they pass through this guy. So it slides in, and then the clutch pedal up here grabs the top. Okay? So the line just plugs into the bottom. Our fight is that the bolts keep hitting then like this emergency brake thing, and it can't pull all the way out. There's just not enough space. I don't know why they didn't give clearance. You just get the bolts out. So I had to just disconnect all sorts of other things just to get it out. Now there's nothing that says this sucker's bad, but then somehow this rod goes in and sits somewhere. So it may not be seated, otherwise it would have given us a rod. Right? He's busting some knuckles. Maybe we'll say that.
I hope not.
What we're working on is the slave cylinder. This is the arm for the clutch. There's the rod, and then that's the slave cylinder. Well, down there. Grant, show me your spoils. That's exactly how it works. All right, let's see what we got. Let's compare it to the new one. So we've got these black one here, the new one, and then we just got to get this guy out, put him over here, and that's pretty much it. So that's what's next. All right, making progress, faster than the other one. Only took a year. We got our little rod in, took some lubricant, and that's a really long shaft, but we got it. So time for Grant Boy here to put that sucker on.
Whatever. This needs to like collapse in.
Yeah, so do it.
The pressure.
The pressure's too much, huh, Grant? Fight through the pressure.
Hey, Daddy, can you move the tube?
Not really. Okay, where's the bolts? You gotta.
It's going in.
Okay, that's in some.
I'm gonna get the bottom one.
Okay.
Got it?
Some. Okay. Get the wrench and start tightening it down. You have to switch it?
And then I will.
Now you need to put that little fluid line on.
Fluid line. With this?
I think it's a 10.
This whole.
Yeah, looks like
Yep.
it. Okay, take that puppy off.
Oh, there.
Okay, now you need to put that down. Other way. Other way. We got it all hooked up. This little guy for the hydraulics was the hardest part. But otherwise, it's all looking good. All the way back into here. Looks like we're all set. Yeah, so now it's time to bleed them.
Yay.
So I'll use for just demonstration purposes this old one. As I said before, the problem with this is getting fluid in. They really needed to put some sort of an injection port, something. What happens is the boot splits. And it splits because you have to pull off the boot to start putting fluid in, or you use a syringe and you puncture the boot and you try and squirt it in. This one was leaking. The problem is it didn't even split the boot, but it just wasn't holding around here and it wasn't doing very good. So we've replaced it. Now we've got to get fluid in, and there is a small itty bitty hole up top. We're gonna try that. I've got some syringes of different sizes, 16 gauge and an 18 gauge. And I'm gonna try and squirt it in that little hole on the boot so I don't have to create a new hole. And I may not even have enough fluid. I don't know. Then we'll bleed it. That's our plan.
What does bleed it mean?
Take the air out of it.
Okay.
I'm gonna start with a 16 gauge. Nothing holds. Oh. Could it be? Oh, sweetness. I should be a doctor.
Looks like that's in a horror movie.
I know. Looks like I'm about to suck my own blood.
Yeah.
This is gonna be dangerous, man. We tried this before with a paper funnel. Yeah, it didn't work. Oh, to be a doctor.
Go to watch shows and do what they're doing.
Alright, now below here is a hole at the very top. I don't know if you can see it. It's right there. Here.
How much is it in each syringe for? As far as you can pull it?
35 milliliters. if you remember, it was stuck in gear. Maybe you don't, I don't know. Maybe I didn't even tell you that. This is stuck in reverse. The last time I got it running, we parked it back here and I had to get it in reverse, and it got stuck in reverse because the clutch fluid went out. Well, then we've bled the clutch, we've done everything now, replaced the master cylinder and the slave cylinder, and it won't come out of gear. And it still won't go out of gear. And I had an old 83 F-150, and I remember after it sat like 20 years, that it just was so hard to get into gear. I thought something was wrong. Well, it just needed to loosen up. So I thought, well, maybe there's a way to loosen it. And on these cab overs, everything pivots about here to allow the cab to move. And down here is the clutch linkage right here. So this is the stick. It moves this guy. So when you go forward, it pivots and it tries to push back this rod right here. And then it comes down on this guy and it slides all the way across to these guys. So I'll get my hand out of the way. So this guy right there rotates away from the camera as you push forward. So we're not trying to get it out of reverse. And so we had to get some negotiating tools. Yes, this is the negotiator. So all I had to do was jam this in here, put it on the linkage, and then just subtly negotiate a treaty.
Subtly.
Slam it over here, and I slammed it over on this guy a couple times, and eventually Chico was able to push it out. So that's how we had to bust it free, and it worked. But it's still really stiff to get into gear. Yeah. So next is just starting it, right? Seeing if we can get it to start. We have replaced the battery. The battery is not sold at AutoZone. They don't have anything for greater than a F350. They're like, what kind of truck do you have? And I'm like, it's big. You guys don't make it. Don't worry about it. You guys won't ever sell anything for it. So we got something for an F350. It's not as big as what was in there, but I fully believe that what was in there probably wasn't the right size either. It should work. And we're gonna see now, you know, what it does. So we'll go from there. What was this, a 5/16? What size was this?
Maybe.
This is the solenoid switch that selects the rear end. And this is what was smoking the last time it ran. So this is the stupid cover, and it comes off. So if this is shorting out, the last battery was completely dead. There wasn't even a reading on it that the battery charger said, error, check battery. It's time to see if this thing is going to start. Pull the choke. It'll start. Okay, now let's give it a go. I accidentally turned it off, my bad.
That was.
Love the smell!
Oh, that's so
sweet.
good. Good. Started again.
Gosh, it smells good. Anybody
Yeah,
else?
it does.
Raise your hand if you love it. Man, it smells like a lawnmower on steroids, baby.
Yeah.
Steroids, that's
I'm
the
the one
problem.
on the deep. Marty's the one on the
That's 2-year-old gas right there, baby.
Ooh. That smells good.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I'm using brain cells as they speak.
It makes it terribly hurt, Daddy.
gosh, choke, baby. That smelled good.
Can't breathe.
Ah, needed to warm up more. My bad. I guess we just have to start it again.
Oh, he loves it. So
Hold on a second. I'm just taking a moment to pause and reflect.
Forward, let's try.
So the one thing I did notice when I was back there, it has dual exhaust straight pipes. I mean, it's got a little bit of like a cherry bomb back there on each one, but there's not a lot. There's like not a real muffler back there.
Wow.
Okay, Pumpkin, hold on a second.
Oh.
I want to just see if I can put it into gear.
There's latches on the bed.
I don't have a brake.
Might be something you want to fix.
It's out of gear. All right, so. All right. Gosh, it smells good.
Yeah.
All right, so before we take it anywhere else,
Brakes.
I'm gonna figure out where the brakes went. Because they don't exist right now.
But I
right.
can't see it.
So next goal is brakes, but it's out of gear, and she starts lovely. Man, that smells good.
I'm sitting on
All right.
dust.
You scared the crap
Let's
out
get
of
out
the
of here.
chickens.
All right, so as you can see, guys, it starts. It's wonderful. It smells good, and it's out of gear. So I've been able to actually put it in gear. It looks like the clutch is working. We've bled it all. Everything's fine, perfect. It's really loud, which is wonderful. But as you notice, the brakes don't work. It used to when we stopped 2 years ago and parked it. They used to leak and have some puddle spots. There's no longer any more puddle spots, so I'm assuming it's leaked out already. So next task is to figure out the brake situation. I was ready to start driving it until I pushed down and there's absolutely no pressure on the pedals, so for the brakes. The plan right now is it ran, I proved that it'll run, it started right back up again. Initially right now I want to just make sure it can work, I can drive it around the neighborhood, and then I'm going to reevaluate at that point how far we go. But so far it's positive, and we're just going to take it a step at a time and see what happens. All right, anyway, hey, thanks for joining us. Buckman is the name of the truck. It's a fat cook from down Periscope. You gotta love the movie. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. Hey, thanks for joining with us as we look into our C600. We wanted to give you an update. Keep joining along as we explore a little bit about this. Talk to you guys later. Thanks, guys.